someone she didn't know from when I was in primary school, she falls on them and introduces us, in the hope they could be what she calls a bosom buddy. Beth laughed. And you've probably got loads of friends already. Lindy was pretty and seemed friendly, and she was local. She was bound to know plenty of people. Lindy shook her head. Not that many, actually. Most of them have moved away, and Mum worries. Look, there's Rachel. Mum said she's from London. She lives in that house that's had all the work done. She hasn't been there long. Cool, said Beth. Let's join her. She felt encouraged. She liked Lindy already, and was prepared to like Rachel, too. Rachel was a bit older than she was, Beth decided. And she looked quite London, in a well-groomed, sleek way. Beth suddenly felt slightly grubby. But in spite of her glossy, straightened red hair and possibly whitened teeth, Rachel smiled, as if pleased to be joined by Lindy and Beth. Hello, you must be Lindy. And I'm Beth. Rachel. Looking at her more closely, Beth thought Rachel must be lonely too. Why else would she be so pleased to see a couple of women who were probably a bit younger and definitely less well-dressed than her? If she hadn't been in her house long, she might not have had time to meet many people. There was a slightly awkward pause, and then Lindy said, I love your hair, Beth. Beth ran her hand over her head. Her very short haircut was extremely recent, and she still hadn't quite got used to it. You don't think it looks like I had it cut off for charity? Rachel and Lindy laughed. No, not at all, said Lindy. Did you have it cut off for charity? Said Rachel. No, although I wish I had now, then there'd have been some point to it rather than it being a spur-of-the-moment thing. I've always had very long hair, you see. My mother didn't ever want me to cut it. It looks brilliant, said Rachel. You've got the face for it. And it makes your eyes look enormous. Sorry, that was a bit personal. Sausage roll, anyone? Asked a cheery-faced woman of substantial proportions holding a plate of them. I made them myself. They are amazing, said Lindy. Mrs. Townley's pastry is famous in the village. Thank you, Lindy. Glad to be appreciated, said Mrs. Townley. Beth remembered she hadn't eaten much that day, and helped herself. Have a couple, insisted Mrs. Townley. It would be rude not to, said Lindy encouragingly. In which case, said Beth, and took two. As she ate, Beth looked around and realised that without the throng of people, the village hall would have been pretty dreary. The paintwork was green and maroon and needed redoing. The ceiling was high, with exposed beams and rafters, but it was in desperate need of either a good scrub or total redecoration. This could be a lovely building, she said to no one in particular. That's what I thought, said Rachel. But I tend to fall in love with old buildings. Please fall in love with this one, said Lindy. The three groups who use it currently think it's just fine as it is, but Mum thinks the roof is about to either collapse or start leaking badly. She says unless people get together and do something about it, it'll fall into total disrepair. She wants to form a Save the Village Hall committee. It would be an awful shame to let it just fall down, said Rachel, staring up into the rafters. Beth stared up there too, and found they didn't look better with closer inspection. Here's the wine, said Lindy after a few moments. It may be homemade. I'm sure it's fine, said Beth. She sensed Lindy was embarrassed about the possibility of homemade wine, but to her it felt totally in keeping with what she thought of as life in the country. Beth took a glass, being offered by a grey-haired lady wearing a dashing knitted lame wrap. This will be the first glass of wine I've had since I've been here. Are you new here too? Said Rachel. I've only been here 10 days. Living here permanently, I mean. Everyone was very excited when you moved in, said Lindy. No one was quite sure who you'd turn out to be. A family? A couple? It's just me, said Rachel. Beth couldn't decide if there was a touch of defiance in the way she said this.